And as we prepare for our lesson now, the doors will be opened, and I'd like to invite Reverend Sue Miller-Bourne forward for our blessing, our talk today.
Thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I appreciate you being here today, and for those of you that are visiting our center for the first time, welcome. I'm curious to speak to you afterwards to see what stirred in your soul to say, I want to visit that place there on 1905 Hartnell. I want to see the beauty. And so we welcome you and all of you. This talk today is on becoming receptive to the divine. And all week, I watched my world around me. How receptive am I to the divine? And it's been an interesting journey. It's been a pleasure to witness those experiences that I ended up inviting once you open yourself to the question and ask for an answer. Sometimes it hits you over the head. But regardless of that, the journey and being receptive to the divine. And so the meditation was an opportunity to open you to that knowing. You see, the idea of that God quality of peace, of joy, of beauty, of love, of life, of light, the attributes of God, the one, we recognize all of that glory of the one, and we are a piece and a part always of that divine influx, that divine knowing flowing through us as us. Those God seeds are planted in us. They are planted in you, and they're planted in me. And you see, forever in our life, we're searching for that connection to the one, and it's a silly little journey because we're already forever connected to the one. So the meditation this morning, Ernest Holmes was reminding us, don't try to force peace. When you drop into the quality of your heart, when you allow yourself to let go of the confusion and the input and the information that's coming through your mind, through your perceptions, how you have been raised to perceive your world, or how you have grown and matured to perceive your world, it's still an illusion, because within all that you see, in all those things that you see, there is the quality and the seeds of God as well. There are these seeds, these attributes of the perfect one. And so there's this need to deeply, deeply relax in your spiritual journey, to allow that sense of the self, those God seeds of the self, that true nature of who you are, to really be receptive and not force that knowing, not force your spirituality, not force your spiritual practice, but to enter it through the breath. Through the breath, it's just that divine conduit. That as we stop in our world, if we're finding ourselves agitated or depressed or withdrawn, we pause and we turn within. Perfect peace within me, express now. And as you make that call to the divine, to the truth, when you make that call to truth, it wells up in you and is expressed outwardly in your world. Ernest Holmes and all of the great teachers, and he's taken this understanding from all the wonderful wisdoms of the philosophies, that this great intelligence, this wisdom is behind all things. So we need not doubt that there is a greater good always propelling us, always carrying us forward, no matter what the circumstance is. And I'm leaping to something right now in my mind because I was reading Sylvia Boorstein, one of her books about the path to joy. And she said something that struck me so much, and this has been my mantra. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And I thought, That's huge. And that's what, in the journey of the Buddha, on his path, that's what he discovered when he sat under the tree and sat very, very still. And he was witness to all the suffering of the world. There are as many sufferings as there are joys. The middle path, the path of the equanimity, of the path of perfect balance, is knowing that those attributes, those experiences are out there, and we dive deeper, we say, be not afraid. And so when I kept allowing that to be my mantra, I was noticing through my week, I've been having my little health issues, so I'm certainly wanting to attend the wellness, because I want to have a deeper dialogue with what are these issues that are showing up. I know I'm aging, but there's a part of me that just is so much alive. I don't want to be bothered by all these little pesky aches and pains. And then I was sitting under this warm lamp that somebody had gifted us for a few weeks, and then we loved it so much we went and bought one. But after I got done, I thought, oh, that felt so good. And I looked in the mirror, and it was like, all of a sudden I was all swollen over on this side and went, what's that? And so I did what anybody would do. I went to the internet and looked up swollen neck on the left. And of course, what comes back to me is things like, of course, all the ones that were really easy to absorb. I went, no, it's not that. That's you're just fat, or you're just, all these. I'm thinking, I was, going down scrolling that says cancer of the thyroid, and I went, do not be afraid. But I thought, it's so, when we start to question or get confused by the body's doing what the body's doing, it's healing. I sat under this beautiful warm lamp that was offered to me by a healer that changed her whole body. And so I thought, I believe in that. I believe in that source. But oh no, I had to go to the mind and then get into the doubt, and then all of a sudden I kept going to the mirror going, I think it's better. And you're out there going, it is. It's really swollen, but don't tell me, okay? Don't tell me about it. I almost wore a scarf after I thought about it today, and I thought, you know what? It's just a healing, a congestion. But do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. And when we get those hard stories told our way, or those influences, watch how quickly, isn't it? Watch how quickly perfect peace within me goes out the window. Perfect doubt within me rises. And the doubt is a quality and a dialogue of the mind. It's not the truth. So this idea of Ernest Holmes in the meditation through the breath, allow all agitation to disappear. Life, joy, beauty, light. Tap into the intelligence behind it all. And check in with that creative juice that begins to flow. Ask that it be known to you. Ask and ye shall receive. The scriptures are not just in the Bible. Beautiful scripture there. The scripture that you will respond to, whether it be the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Kabbalah, the Bible, the Torah, whatever speaks to you in that perfect wisdom, those perfect words, it's going to connect with that creative juice in you and the creative power and the knower inside of you. That which you wish to know will be revealed. Now, again, the conduit, the perfect pathway to being receptive to the divine is through the heart. So though our minds perhaps are reading and absorbing and connecting with information, we must distill it in the center of our heart. I wish it all to be known to me. This universal mind will then flow through truth, from that outer realm into the inner seeds within you, where there's a resonance, where there's a connection, where there's a truth. The universal Spirit of God is forever whispering the truth. You are just needing to sit in stillness and be open and believe. The idea of feeling it as it is expressed through you, it's like a guiding star. Something is forever being channeled into you. And I am tremendously amused by this because I have been struggling with a very important decision in my own personal life, and I put it before God, and I put it into that seed in myself. The answer rises very clearly, very pristine, and then I cloud it with, but, oh my, maybe that's not the truth, because these people just arrived and they're trying to tell me that that's not the truth. And so all of a sudden, that perfect moment, that clarity, that crystal clarity that downloaded through me, I suddenly begin to layer and layer and layer with parts of my life and my personality, and then I stay frozen in indecision. Because I want the decision to come easy. I don't want it to hurt, and I don't want it to hurt anyone else. And so I just get frozen. And I was sharing this in the staff meeting, and Reverend Mary said, interesting. So I had to take it from Reverend Mary. If any of you haven't taken it from Reverend Mary, I had my moment, and she didn't do it harshly, and then Lori was there, so if I wasn't hearing it from Reverend Mary, I heard it from Lori, and she said, interesting. And she shared that when I was in Sacred Sisters, she said, what did your card say to you? And I said, I can't remember. And she said, do nothing. And I went, and then Mary goes, well, what does that mean with this? And then Lori went and expounded this incredible wisdom, and I went, oh, there you have it. So I've had my answer for years. I've carried around my answer for years. This is another thing Ernest Holmes reminds us to do. You ask, you receive, and then you move your feet. You see, if he describes it, if you keep your heads in the clouds the whole time and don't really act on the good that you're receiving, on the good that you know is your good, then you're creating your own suffering. You're creating your own pattern of confusion. The answers are right there. And it takes such courage to really stand in that and suddenly take that ownership. Well, that's not anything that I was going to say. Thank you, God. Isn't that interesting, to be open to the receptive? Just to really be open to the receptive. You see, we can't really plan anything. Last week, I was so excited because I was going to I've done a lot of retreats in my life, but it's been with you. And you know the philosophy, you know what you sign up for when you sign up for a retreat at this center. And when any of us design a retreat for you, the creative juices are just flowing, and we are so excited to celebrate opportunities to be with the one, and to find ways that we can peel away the layers of delusion and confusion, and to step out of the cocoons that we have built around ourselves so the true beauty of who we are can just be expressed. And so our retreats are a whole process of that, and they're really exciting. But I went to do a retreat with there was only a couple people that knew this philosophy, and they were all 25 to 30 age group, young women. And it was down in Guerneville, which is, everybody kept saying, just don't take that one road that does this. And I thought, okay, but I was on that road doing this. So I arrived all tense, and I was passing all these wineries, and I thought, I should. But I thought, no, I can't be doing that at a retreat. So I arrived, and then I still was just like, I brought in all my stuff. I couldn't wait to share with these girls. And then when we sat in the first circle, every single one of those young women were absolutely extraordinarily beautiful. They were into, a lot of them were doing all forms of yoga, so their bodies were very, very powerful. That wasn't the intention for them being there. But I just kind of looked around and I thought, uh-oh, I don't know what I'm going to say to these people. I'm afraid of them. You know, I realized that was invoking a sense of, suddenly I was separate from them. So I asked the question right off the first night, you know, because they all went around, shared what they were going to be there for, and Reverend Andrew and I were both there, and so I just, I said, well, what's your spiritual background? Quiet, you know. Well, and then the stories opened. But I needed that avenue. I needed that base of knowing who we are in this circle. And truly, I was sharing with them, we want to go deep here. We want to go deep to not the superficial things that your beautiful lives have created right now, but the whole idea behind the retreat was what's next. And it was really a beautiful process to see it open. But there was that question in myself to be open and receptive to what was before me. And isn't that what we have to do every single time? You're going to be preparing your workshop next week, and then she's going to have to put it all down, and just completely be open to the need. And these two lovely ladies did their retreat yesterday. Put everything down, create the space, ask for that divine inspiration, but then open to grace and just allow your life to flow from there. You see, there's an intelligence behind all things, and we open to that. Yogananda, one of my favorite stories when I read the autobiography of a yogi when I was about 19, there was a story that he had shared because he was so enamored with his gurus and his spiritual journey, but he was also trying to get through school. And so he would look at his stuff a little bit, but then he would just be hungry to be at his guru's feet, but he had to do his exams. And I always tell this story to people because remember that divine intelligence is out there. Now, he did enough preparation to make it through. You know, he was a little bit worried because you need to, he wasn't worried. Yogananda didn't worry. Sorry. No, he was aware that he had separated himself from that book stuff, from that knowledge that was mundane to him, and he was so focused on the spiritual journey. But in the moment, he just said, I've done the work, I've laid the groundwork, and then he opened. He just opened, and the wisdom came. So I've told people that time and again, when they've gone to take exams, you've prepared, now open. Just open to the intelligence and just answer the questions as they flow through you. Answer from your heart and just get through. Just get through. You don't have to prove anything to anybody, but you'll just get through, letting the divine flow through the pencil. Flow through the mind, your heart, and in through the pencil. And that divine intelligence is out there. Every artist and sculptor, every scientist has had a stirring of a curiosity or a piece of art that they want to create, and then they open to the divine, and suddenly it is created. It is created through the one as they've allowed themselves to open. So these are some of the beautiful wisdoms in the Science of Mind text that Ernest Holmes shares with us. All men seek some relationship. All men are seeking some relationship. Those of you that came today, where you're seeking some connection to that one, some relationship to the universal mind, the oversoul, the eternal spirit, all the different names that we call God. And life reveals itself to whoever Life, this knowing, this truth, will reveal itself to whoever is receptive to it. How do I get receptive? Get thee behind me, doubt. You want to feel that sense. Get behind me, doubt. Pluck it out of the seeds of my mind and let me be open to the true nature and to this truth. We are all living in a spiritual universe, and included in that spiritual universe is the material and the physical. And there has been a conclusion of the deepest thinkers of every age that this relationship with the One reveals itself to whoever is receptive. This spiritual universe must be one of pure intelligence and perfect life. Dominated, this is Ernest Holmes, dominated by love. Dominated by love. So you know that if you're in any kind of quandary inside the self, if you're nitpicking a friend, judging something, there's a level of love that needs to flow there. You can call upon that quality when you recognize. And sometimes we're human beings, and sometimes situations occur in our life that are very, very annoying. People can be very annoying. But it's asking you, those annoying moments are asking you to stop, to be still, and to cultivate that quality of love. How can I love this situation? They were so annoying to me. They were so bold. They were so rude. And you can feel, you can talk it out enough until the self, the small self that has that conversation to the larger self in you, until you can have that dialogue within you and you find that kernel of truth, that kernel, that power, that knowing, that seed of love. And then you can go back to that situation bathed in love, and your response will be a response coming from love, coming from that power, coming from that place of peace. The spiritual universe must be one of pure intelligence and perfect life, dominated by love, by reason, and by the power to create. It's an inevitable conclusion. Another wisdom. The one who wishes to demonstrate some particular good, so if you want to have a certain quality of good in your life, you must be conscious of that particular good. What does that mean? So all the ways that we are dwelling within our consciousness, we must be able to really embody that which we want to experience. We must be willing to say that reverent yes, that willingness to say yes. I want peace in my life. I want to embody that. This is what it looks like by means of me. This is what it is feeling like by means of me. So we must be conscious of this particular good. If he wishes to experience it, therefore he must make his mind receptive to it, and he must do this consciously. We can't be all wussy about it. We can't say, I kind of want to love everybody. No. We have to say, I love everyone. I am receptive to that truth. I understand that quality of the divine, urging itself to be expressed in me. So we allow our mind to be receptive to it. And we do this consciously. We do this through the spiritual practice, through the prayer of our hearts, through the urgencies of our soul in this lifetime to get this right. We have walked this journey. We have been together. This is a beautiful center to find fellowship, because we will call each other on it. We'll all be the Reverend Marys to each other. Just kidding, Mary, wherever you are. You're not in here, so I can say what I want. But there is no, this is something Ernest Holmes says too, there's no hocus pocus. Now, for those of you that were visiting for the first time, what Katie did was a treatment, was a prayer, a formula of calling God and making our connection to God, and then speaking a truth of that, leading it into gratitude, and then just knowing that it's already so. When we speak with power and conviction, we speak with our consciousness knowing and infusing that truth. We're allowing each one of ourselves to be receptive to that truth. So there's no hocus pocus going on. It's always definite, it's always conscious, concrete, and explicit. We are dealing with an intelligence. We are dealing with God. We are dealing with an intelligence of God, an intelligence and a love. And so we deal with it with intelligence and with love. And what happens there? This is the beautiful part. You create a perfect belief. You created a perfect belief. And so what was layered on you as a shell, as can't you see all the things I'm afraid of? They're all plastered all over me. No, you strip those away and people say, she's a true believer. She really believes this. Because this radiant love, this radiant peace shines forth and speaks louder than any doubt, than any fear could ever lead you off your path. And finally, another wonderful wisdom from the text. It has always been taught that the soul of the universe, the soul, that which we live and have our very being in, is receptive medium into which the Spirit breathes forth. Think about that when you think about the very first words of the Bible, and what was breathed into form. The Spirit breathes forth the form of its thought. It is subjective to the Spirit. That which is subjective is always impersonal. So you see, it's going to be done unto you as you believe. There it goes back to that true belief. So look deeply into the altar of your heart and ask yourself if you have been in an arena of frozen and not being able to make that decision, to make that step forward, to free yourself. You must remind yourself that you can step into this receptive medium and allow it to receive your calling of your heart. And then allow yourself, once it is received with such truth, it is compelled to act upon it. It is the law. We have love, we have the law. It will be done unto you as your thoughts are held. So we allow ourselves to recognize, oh, I'm on the spiritual journey. That's why it is such an important time in my day, in my life, to sit very, very still. To sit with the One, not put any task before the opportunity to have this dialogue. And as the dialogue of myself, who I am, merges with the One, and the One speaks to that seed of itself within me, I recognize and I expand who I am. The volume of who I am speaks loudly, because suddenly I am infused with that divine knowing. And every step I take is a step on the path and a step to a true belief that I hold and I merge with. The universe, consequently, the soul of the universe, the big soul, has been called a blind force, not knowing, only doing for each one of us what we allow ourselves to be receptive to. It is the medium of our thought, and it is the power and the action of Spirit moving through us, because we are conduits of this One, and it is asking us to serve this world from a place of peace, poise, and calm. I don't know what you came here for today. And I don't know who I am to deliver anything to you. It's been a wonderful journey and a challenging journey for me to be an interim co-pastor. I didn't know what I was getting into. And as I explore the teaching, I'm right with you. I'm right with you on that journey. My heart aches, and my issues for the world burn with yours. But I find companionship here. I find resolution here. I find power here. I find clarity here. By means of saying yes and being receptive to that one truth. So join me in this knowing. As we close this time, the small piece of time of sharing, we recognize the peace, the love, the joy, the light, the beauty, the calm. It already is. So it's no longer a battlefield. We recognize where we stand. Whatever angle we stand infused with the power of the One beaming through us as we allow that small self to just fade away, and we allow the true self that speaks only the power of this love, truth, beauty, peace. We allow that voice to be the final voice that speaks through us. We are receptive. We are open to this truth. As we open to this greater understanding, as we recognize we have the opportunity right here and now to open and to drop all the layers, all the confusion, all the doubt, all the blame or shame. We drop it at our feet right now. And as we leave this sanctuary today, we walk in the footsteps of the One, glorifying all that is before us, radiating our true belief, our true love, our true knowing. So thank you, God, for this moment where we say yes. We say yes to that still small voice, and we move powerfully forward as ambassadors of peace and trust on this planet today. It is done, it is so, and so it is.